I want to start with a shaila. I'll start with a shaila today, just to start off, kick off today's topic. Be'ez Hashem, this week's topic, Be'ez Hashem. I want to start with an email that I received from somebody. The email goes like this. The email says, "Hey Rabbi, I have an interesting shaila for you." By the way, whenever people often say this, they call me up and I have a really interesting shaila. So I'm like gearing up for some really crazy, wacky shaila. It's like, so my milchik spoon was by mistake. I'm like, oh, come on, give me something juicy, give me something good, Baruch Hashem, I get a lot of emails from different people. I got emails just last week from wacky places, mamish wacky places, a whole bunch of wacky places. That's where I got emails from. I got from from Croatia, from Bulgaria, from Mexico, from Brooklyn. Mamish completely wacky. Mamish like no shaykhs, whatever. Just Baruch Hashem. So this one Rabbi Isai reads like this. Baruch Hakavada, Williamsburg Oichet. Okay, let's go. This one said, listen to the shaila, Rabbi Isai. It's an interesting shaila, and it's a shaila that's negated today in this week's topic, Be'ez Hashem. And you may think when you think of the shaila, like, seriously, come on. But Lamaisa, people do ask these questions, and it bothers them. They want to know what the halach is, what's the das Hashem, what is the ratzon Hashem, what does the Rabban Shem want from me, and what does the Torah say? So listen to this. Here's the shaila. If somebody is at shul and gets a little too close to a blade fan that is running, and their hair gets stuck in the fan and wound around so that there's no way to get loose without cutting the hair, what should they do? If it happened on Friday night, are they obligated to sit in shul all night of Shabbos, or is there any room to give permission for somebody to cut the hair? Now, Rabbi Isai, I'm reading Mamish word for word. If there's an Eruv, I don't know if there's an Eruv, I'm not sure if it would change or not. I don't know. Okay, I did not come up with the shaila. This is. All right, Rabbi Isai. So you might build a rock. We'll talk about that. We have a lot to talk about. Okay, we'll get to that. All right, the boys are back. Baruch Hashem. Okay, so I just want to read to you, Rabbi Isai, Loshen. I want to read you a Loshen of the Heilige Marsham. The Heilige Marsham says, and I remember sitting many, many times by Goyna Godel, maybe we'll get an opportunity also, by Goyna Godel, Rabbi Zul Orbach, Shlita Rabbi Zul Orbach, as we know, is the son of Agoin, Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Zatzal, is the son-in-law handpicked by Rabbi Elyashiv Zatzal, brother-in-law of Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal. Mom is surrounded by Gedolei Torah, and he himself, a Godel B'Torah as well. So I remember him telling me, he did shimush by his father-in-law, Rabbi Elyashiv, that when Rabbi Elyashiv heard the name Marsham, so he got a pachat, Marsham. Listen to the words of the Marsham, I quote, Hilchos Shabbos, Nochutz Lumod, it's very, very important. It's so easy for a person to come to Hil Shabbos. That's why we have to learn Hilchos Shabbos. That's what we're doing over here, right? Baruch Hashem. And one example, there's only one example that the Heilige Marsham brings about how important it is to learn Hilchos Shabbos and what you may do if you don't learn Hilchos Shabbos. So the Heilige Marsham, you can look this up, Rabbi Isai, it's in Tchelis Modra Chele Gimel Dining, the Shabbos HaGadol Chedusha Dinim Ois Kuf Mem Zayin. The Marsham says, Kamoi, for example, what is the one example that he would pick out of the Lamatas Malachos, all 39 prohibited activities on Shabbos Kodesh? Which one did he pick? This one. Kamoi had toilesh tzitzin shel ar mibsari chayim shem toilesh dova migidulai. How easy is it for a person to, by mistake, or maybe even intentionally without even knowing, or maybe he never even came to the shiurim and therefore he doesn't know it's asa, pick some skin, pick a piece of hair, a piece of nail? It's very negaya. It's very negaya. It happens sometimes, right? And we get very upset when people tell us off. I'll tell you, Mordecai Meister of Shinsha Pickers was once walking in the streets of Bnei Brak. He was walking in Bnei Brak, and he was walking down the street, and there was a guy there biting his nails. Right? It happens sometimes. Someone once came to the Heilige Chazon Ish, and he was biting his nails. Maybe he was nervous, sitting in front of the Gadol Hador. And the Chazon Ish said to him, Chil Shabbos! So, he was biting his nails at the time. He's like, Rebbe, it's Wednesday today. Calm down. It's Wednesday. There's no Chil Shabbos. So the Chazon Ish, no. Because if you're doing it on Wednesday, you're probably going to do it on Shabbos also. Right? So Shinsha Pickers was walking down the street, and he sees a fellow writing his nails, which is very common, and he wasn't sure, should I tell the guy, should I not tell the guy, what's his reaction going to be? He decided, the Rabbeinu Shalom, Shabbos Kodesh, I'm going to tell him. And he says to him, excuse me sir, but Shabbos Kodesh, bite your nails. So the guy, he was waiting for like a punch, he was like standing back, he was ready to go. Right, it's like sometimes when you pie someone, you stand back because you never know what the reaction is going to be, right, Yosef? You never know what the reaction is going to be, right? And if he's bigger than you, then whew. So anyway, so Shinsha Pinkus, the Maisa wasn't sure the reaction, and the guy gives him a hug, says thank you so much. How often do we have that reaction when someone says to us, "Nu Shabbos," or "Nu," talking in the base medrash, or whatever it may be? We have the reaction, "Shkoyach." Thank you for being mezaking me. Thank you for reminding me. I didn't know it was us. I didn't know whatever. We have to be careful. So the Heilige Maharsham brings this as the example, and it's so common. People don't know, for example, which we'll discuss, Be'ez Hashem, the Gemara knows the Shulchan Aruch and the end of Simishin Megimel, which is the halachas of combs. We'll talk about that, Be'ez Hashem. We'll talk about nails. We'll talk about skin on the lip. Very, very negay in the winter when a person has chapped lips and it starts to get very dry and you can bite them off. Whether you pull it off, bite it off. These are all shilas that are very, very negaya and very important for a person to remember. Right? That's why we have to know what the halacha is in this case. So we'll start like this, Rabbi said. As we start with all the malachas, we begin. Where was this malacha in the Mishkan? This is the malacha of Gozez, one of the Lamates malachas, which was when they sheared the animal of the wool on its skin. That's what they did in the Mishkan. We know the Gemara in Shabbos Ayin Gimel tells us that anything that was done in the Mishkan is included in a malacha Shabbos Kodesh, right? As we learned already last week, as you guys are learning morning Seder, Baruch Hashem. Therefore, if it was done in the Mishkan, it's also in Shabbos Kodesh. Okay? Dynamo with me so far? So far, so good. Yeah? Heavy? Good? Gavaldik. Now, let me ask the Olam Kasha. A simple kasha. First of all, let's just define. The Rambam in Hilchos Shabbos says that to be over on the Issa Da'oraisa, it has to be done with a kli. Why? Because the normal way of doing it is with a kli. How do you shear off the wool of a sheep, of an animal? With a kli. You don't do it with your hands. And therefore, the way to be over on an Issa Da'oraisa on Shabbos will be with a kli, with a utensil, something that's normally done in that way. If it's done with your hand, that will be a Durabanan. Now let me ask the Olam a very important kasha. And then it's like this. This is the Yesod in Hilchos Shabbos. It's good to start with this, and we'll get to the pratim and the details as we continue. There's something called the malacha she'ena tzricha legufa, right? Which means that when I do a malacha, but I don't need the item that I'm doing the malacha on, right? The Gemara brings examples of digging a hole. I don't need the hole or the dirt, depending how you learn, whatever it is, and we're going into it now. But I can put it when I don't need the item that I'm doing the malacha on. That's called the malacha she'ena tzricha legufa. I don't need it for itself. Now, you cannot be chayav for that. So everybody asks on the malacha of Gozez, when you take a piece of skin, or you take a piece of nail, or you take a hair, when you comb your head, and it pulls out a piece of hair, do you need that hair, Mailach? You don't need the hair, you don't need the skin, and you don't need the nail. So it's a malacha, she'ein tzricha legufa. So it's a malacha she'ein legufa, no. So it's not a daraisa. It's not mamash a daraisa. You with me? Menachem. Twice. You got it? Yes or no? There's a problem here because every Gozez then would never be a malacha she'tzricha legufa, would always be a malacha she'ein tzricha legufa. Anybody with me? Yes.
Maybe it's not as essential as you're using the clear as you're doing the maisa of it.
And therefore,
whether you're using the clear or not, you're not allowed to be doing the action of.
Beseda, you might. That's true. Could be Durabanan also. But if it's malacha she'tzricha legufa, that's a daraisa. Malacha she'ein tzricha legufa will be more kal than that. So every Gozez is a malacha she'ein tzricha legufa.
I needed to not be there.
Ooh, says Asha. Right, Tully, you're listening? This is Gavaldik. Zuk Asha. That I need it not to be there. We get it? Why not? I don't want the knot in my hair when I comb my head. Therefore, I don't want the knot there. I pull it out. I'm very happy about it. That's nichale. That's not a malacha she'tzricha legufa. I don't need the item I'm doing the malacha on. Say that, but right now I'm going. I want my head to be nice and neat. So therefore, when I have a knot, that's bothering me. That's what Ash was saying. I don't want it there.
Specifically, they're not fine. So the usher of taking out the knot, maybe you'll get, but the usher of pulling out the hair itself, you want the hair there.
But okay, could be. But even if it's true, either one of you, it doesn't make it malacha she'tzricha legufa. It makes it into nichale. Doesn't help me. Comes along Rabbi Isai, the Heilige Rivosh. A Heilige Rivosh. You look at the beginning of Simon Shin Mem. The Be'alacha brings down this Rivosh. The Rivosh says that in the Mishkan, Why did they do Gozez many times? And this is going to be very negay when we eat chicken on Shabbos. We'll talk about it, Be'ez Hashem, depending on which Hechsha you go, right? It's a very big shaila, which Hechsha, right, yeah? Big shaila, which Hechsha? We'll talk about the Hechshem coming up this week. The Olim are like, what? I can't eat this Hechsha. All my life, every time I came to Israel and I took pictures, I went to that restaurant. Come on, there's Jewish people in there. It must be kosher. Let's not get into all the names. I'm going to be, it's on video, so I'm going to be in trouble. Okay, let's go. There was a guy with a beard there eating it. Must be okay. What do you mean, McDonald's? Oh, Rabbi say. Whew. Chaim, you ready for this?
It says kosher. Hebrew letters, Rabbi. McDonald's says kosher.
McDonald's says kosher. All right, Rabbi say. Comes along the Heilige Rivosh, and the Rivosh says, why did they do Gozez in the Mishkan? Many times it wasn't for the hair that they took off the skin. It was to make the skin look nicer. It was to make it smooth. Zog the Rivosh in the Mishkan. They did it to make the skin smoother. I mean, metakim the skin around it. Mimela zog the Rivosh. When you have a piece of skin and it bothers you, it shouldn't be there. I don't want it there. It's not nice. And I take it off, and through that, I've been miyapa. I've improved the area. Zog the Ran, the same idea as well on a different derech. If you've improved the area, that's called the malacha shetzrich alaguva. Even though I don't need the skin or the nail or the hair.
So there was no wool used in the Mishkan?
There was wool in the Mishkan, but many times the Gozez was also the stage afterwards, which was they had to remove, Tosfos brings there, and also for the leather, which is when that also. But since we find Gozez also was when they didn't need the hair per se, they needed the surface underneath it. Maybe the same thing would be by us with the hair, skin or nails. Yes, sir.
Well, this case with somebody that would have an addiction to peeling off their nails on Shabbos, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be because they don't want it there, just because they can't.
That could,
it makes it look better or worse.
Good. So Menachem is saying a good svara. What happens if a person, for example, has a splinter by his nail? Now, by the way, I don't want to go into the sugya now because we're not learning Siman Shin Chav Ches. But if we were learning Siman Shin Chav Ches, we would be discussing if a person has a splinter stuck between the nail tuli and the skin, that's pikuach nefesh, calling an ambulance on Shabbos Kodesh. Right, a person can die from the pain that you have a splinter exactly between the nail and the skin. Right? Okay, so it's puach nefesh. Person has to call an ambulance on Shabbos Kodesh. If a person has chas v'shalom aleinu, such a thing, it's very dangerous. But let's say a person has a splinter by the nail. The only way to get rid of the splinter is removing some of the nail. So that's not the pshat that I need the nail off because I want it to look nicer. Right, Chaim? That's not the pshat. Aaron Dov, you with me? That's not pshat. I want the nail off to look nicer. The pshat is I just need it off in order to take out the splinter. Therefore, according to the Rivosh and the Ran, you would say in both cases that will be a drabanan. That's a malacha shenetzrich alagufa. Because then, a kuli alma, I don't have the svara that we said in the Mishkan, lefi the Rivosh and the Ran, that I need it to be off. I don't need it to be off, I need it for a side reason. That's a malacha shenetzrich alagufa.
So you're saying that it's based on the person doing the malacha?
Absolutely. As in many malachas, because why? Malacha machshavas osvatayra. Everything is about the kavanah.
I wake up in Shabbos morning, have a itchy head, so I scratch my head and I pull out a few hairs while doing that. You can say, I didn't want the hair, I didn't want
Gavaldige kasha. Scratch your head. So first of all, it's not a psik reisha. It's a dover she'enim mischaven. It's definitely not the derech. It's not a kli. So mele, that's for sure okay. Right? We're not even discussing that. Person was never over on the Issa. You want to go now into the sugya of a person has to bring a korban chatos, if it's called a mesasek. I don't know. We're not talking about that at this moment of time. Sunflower seeds?
Yeah, the shell.
You mean the bugs in the sunflower seeds? What do you mean? Totally, you're talking about the bugs in the front sunflower seeds?
the shell, once you crack it open,
No. The shell? That's muktzah. The shell would be muktzah. I'm not sure how it's connected to Gozez, but it's a beautiful question. I love it. And it's important to say no, because you brought up the sugya of bugs in the sunflower seeds, which is a great sugya. And the fact that the shells are muktzah as well. Somebody had to do it. Okay. Rabbi said we have to move on. You know what? I'll tell you what we're going to do. Rabbi said we have so much to discuss. In Mitzvah Shem, we're going to discuss the sugya of using a comb on Shabbos Kodesh. We're going to discuss the idea of a person pulling out white hairs from black. There's a lot to discuss. Be'ez Hashem. Tomorrow we shall continue. Have a wonderful and beautiful day.